January 28th of 2024, a mother posted the following footage that she caught on her home security camera. The mother stated this video was recorded inside her bedroom where various instances of paranormal activity had been taking place. In one of these instances, her daughter ran out of the room claiming she heard a woman scream. The mother was confused as she did not hear anyone scream, but upon checking the footage, she saw this. A scream from out of nowhere sends her daughter running out of the room. Now it's possible the camera was hacked, but this still does not explain the other strange activity that's been going on in her home. The mother believes this video is evidence of something supernatural. Whether or not that's the case, this video is still pretty creepy.
This next footage was captured in 2017 in Thailand. On the morning of December 26th, a 32-year-old radio operator named Mana was looking down at his phone as he walked back towards his car from his radio office when he had an unexpected near-death experience. As soon as he walks by the power line, the electricity cables above his head spontaneously explode. Had he taken a fraction of a second more to react, Mana would have been struck by the power line, which would have most likely been fatal. As he later revealed in an interview, the explosion was caused by an electrical fault due to overheating, which melted the nearby wires. At the time of the incident, the city had seen some pretty heavy rain, which only made things worse. According to sources close to the victim, some cities in Thailand are known for notoriously dangerous overhead cables that litter the streets and pose a significant risk to those who find themselves walking under them at the wrong time. Luckily, Mana was able to walk away unharmed, but the incident obviously raises a huge red flag to how electricity is structured in some of these cities. On November 21, 2018, a 24-year-old woman named Vanessa Donay sat in the backseat of her mother's Chevy Equinox with her 2-year-old daughter as they waited for Vanessa's mom to finish her appointment at a business center in Windsor, Canada. At one point during the waiting period, Vanessa noticed a suspicious man walk past their vehicle and stare at it for a little longer than necessary. Almost immediately after walking out of frame, the man doubles back around and approaches the car. With an alarmingly casual demeanor, he then enters the Chevy through the unlocked passenger door where he finds Vanessa and her daughter sitting in the back seat. Understandably terrified, Vanessa can be heard screaming at the man. Although the rest of the incident wasn't caught on camera, Vanessa reported that as soon as the man saw her, he gave her a disturbing smile, shut the door, and took off in his black pickup truck. After she reported the incident to the cops and posted the video on Facebook, some viewers theorized that the man had maybe just seen Vanessa's daughter, and thinking she was alone, he thought he could steal her. However, others thought he didn't see anybody and was just trying to steal the car. Just 3 days later, officers with the Windsor Police Property Crimes Unit saw the man drive a vehicle into a parking lot near the area of the incident. According to the police report, as soon as the man got out of the car and went into an apartment building, the cops followed and arrested him without incident. The man was immediately identified as 38-year-old Corey Oikel, and as it was later revealed, the vehicle he was found with was stolen, supporting the idea that he was only trying to steal Vanessa's car and not her daughter. Inside his car, the cops also found several stolen items from his previous car thefts, along with a bunch of random receipts that indicated the man had made fraudulent transactions using stolen property. As per the court documents that were released a couple of months later, the incident with Vanessa wasn't exactly Corey's first rodeo. After the cops were able to connect him with several other similar incidents from earlier that year, Corey was charged with 4 counts of possession of stolen property, 3 counts of theft, 2 counts of assault, uttering threats, attempted theft of a motor vehicle, theft of mail, and fraud. Fortunately, Vanessa was smart enough to scare him away by screaming before he could do anything even more messed up than his previous crimes.
Now this next video is pretty short, but it's still nonetheless pretty creepy. It was submitted to me by a viewer who found the video on Instagram. The original source is unknown, but despite lacking any context, the video speaks for itself. A mother is alone at home with her 2 children when strange things start happening. Now the person who sent this further adds that the mother had been experiencing paranormal occurrences at home ever since moving in. This video is just one of many of those occurrences. It's late at night when the following happens. Watch.
So it's just us here, and Henry's at work, and I've been hearing my kitchen chairs out there. Shh. And I'm freaking the f right now. Shh. Ready?
Now right when the video starts, it's immediately evident that the children are distressed. Something is upsetting them, and we don't know what it is until moments later. The mother walks out cautiously from the safety of her room when a chair abruptly slides over. This was enough to send her running back inside, brimming with immense fear. Not much else is known about what happened afterward, but if one had to guess, it would be that they remained inside the room until the father, who she mentions, returned home. Unfortunately, like most videos, this one remains a mystery.
In 2018, Lauren and Brian Swenson were in the process of opening a CrossFit gym in Nairobi, Kenya with 2 local trainers. One day, the Utah couple were on their way to do some filming with their trainers to promote their gym when they suddenly came across a traffic jam on the main road. Soon after taking a detour on a dirt road, the Swensons and the trainers passed 2 officers on foot with weapons who gestured for the couple to give them a ride. For reasons they didn't disclose, they chose not to pick up the officers and continued driving until they came across a white public transport vehicle stopped in the middle of the road. Although the couple didn't notice at the time, the driver of the white van tried to warn them with his headlights, but they missed the signal, and this is where things get disturbing.
I'd rather assume they do and not. Yeah. Drive forward. Cross. Just drive forward. Drive forward. Hey!
Still there?
Yeah.
Just as they pass the van, 3 men armed with machetes appear from behind the vehicle and charge at the Swensons' car. Reacting quickly to the situation, the driver immediately shifts the vehicle into reverse to gain some distance. As the men get closer, one of the trainers instructs Brian to drive forward, and as he does, one of the attackers tries to reach through the window with his machete. In a Facebook post she shared after the incident, Lauren mentioned that when they first saw the bandits, Brian's window was only partially up, and that he sped back in reverse to buy some time to roll it up. When the bandits attacked the car, the window was cracked a couple of inches, but luckily it wasn't enough for the machete to fit through. As Brian speeds away on the dirt road, one of the trainers mentions that he could see cops arriving at the scene.
The cops? There not even cops behind. The cops behind. Yeah, they're running away. Dang! Oh, gunshots. No, they're running after them. Let's get out of here.
Alarmingly, a shot could be heard behind the vehicle, presumably from the confrontation between the cops and the men with machetes. In her Facebook post, Lauren mentioned that if she had picked up the officers or even let them ride on the side rails as they went up the road, they would have likely opened fire on the bandits. Luckily, the Swensons and the trainers were able to ride away safely, but it was not confirmed if anyone was hurt after the encounter.
This is the scariest house in New York, the Kreischer Mansion. Built in the 1800s, originally by Balthazar Kreischer, this house was intended to be lived in by one of his 2 sons, Charles and Edward. But in a shocking twist of fate, one day Edward randomly walked out of his home with a pistol and took his own life. To this day, no one knows if he actually took his own life or if he was murdered, but his ghost has been seen in the house to this day. There were also a couple of children that died in here, including kids Albert and Henry. The kids used to be locked in this upstairs closet for punishment, and let me tell you, the energy up there is dark. But the tragedy inside of this house only continued into the 2000s when a man named Rob was brutally murdered in a mob hit in the first floor. They punched him, sliced him, attacked him, tried to drown him, but they eventually succeeded in killing Rob, and his body was then dismembered inside of the kitchen and in the basement. And it was in this room where Charles Kreischer used to conduct seances to attempt to talk to his dead brother. Apparently, he opened doors with those seances that he never closed. We spent the night in here ghost hunting. We had the whole house to ourselves, and we recorded some of the craziest paranormal activity we've seen to date. The full video is coming on Monday.
An exorcism was performed on this house and it failed. Welcome to the Hinsdale House, the scariest house in all of America. Now, the story of the Hinsdale House is a very, very interesting one. This place is located in Hinsdale, New York, upstate New York, near Buffalo, and there have been a number of tragedies and stories associated with this property. For example, a child on a nearby farm was killed by a buzzsaw early in the 1900s. Two brothers were arguing in the forest behind the home one day when one brother took a shotgun and shot his brother, killing him. There's a tree on the front of the property that was allegedly used to hang people, including a famous hanging of a pregnant woman. And some of the earliest people that lived in the house are suspected to be serial killers. Yes, the current owner, Dan, has found bodies buried in the back part of the property. They still haven't figured out who the bodies belong to. They only know that they're there because they've taken out ground penetrating radar and figured out that there were bodies. They're working on getting them checked out and everything. But none of this even includes the exorcism and the possession of the Dandy family. Now, in the 1970s, kind of like something out of The Conjuring, the Dandy family moved into the Hinsdale house. And they experienced all sorts of violent paranormal activity. There would be swarms of bugs that would appear. They couldn't get any sleep. People were getting scratched, pushed, screamed at. And this was such a terrifying haunting that they sought the help of a local priest, Father Alphonsus, pictured right here. Now, he came in and performed what's known as a structural exorcism on the property. With the whole family present, this is widely documented. They even had a film crew from a New York university come out and film this entire process. And after this structural exorcism was completed, the film crew members swore they would never return to the property because of what they had seen and what they had heard during that process. Now, sadly, this exorcism failed. Only a short while after the exorcism, one of the family members ended up hanging herself. And the surviving members of the family to this day will tell you that this was the scariest thing they've ever experienced, and they wouldn't wish this on their worst enemy. There are also indigenous burial mounds just located right past the property line. So this place is like a gigantic vortex of just negative, strange energy. People have even reported seeing puckwudgies, wendigos, and skinwalkers in the woods surrounding the house. Obviously, I'm a paranormal investigator. I had to check the place out. I actually spent the night there back in March of this year, and let me tell you, it was one of the scariest experiences we've ever had. It was a totally different type of haunting, a different type of energy that just got into your mind. It works into your mind. It gives you violent thoughts, angry thoughts. And when I was sitting upstairs in the home where allegedly an investigator at one point had his eyes roll back into his head and his eyes turned black, I felt like a hand ran up my thigh and squeezed me on my buttocks. And so obviously you'd think that that one time, the scary night, would be enough. But no, we recently returned last week to investigate. And this time when we went back, we brought an actor so we could recreate the exorcism that took place back in the 1970s. And let me tell you, that's the night when all hell broke loose. The full video is going to be on my YouTube channel on Monday, so be sure you don't miss it.
Briley and I are in my brother's haunted basement. Here's my niece Briley. We are turning on the spirit box and we want to see if we can capture anything. I already came into the house and got a scratch on my back, so I think it's a warning. They don't want me in here. I tried to do a cleansing in here once in this room, right? What happened?
Yeah, that whole noise.
The whole noise. It sounded like the spirit left, but it did not. So, yep, and this is where the little room is. Let's turn on the spirit box. Do you know who I am? Did it say Haley? Do you remember me from last time? Did you scratch me? It said yes, and then I heard a tap back here.
For real?
Yes. Who are you? It said it's Anna? It said it scratched me. We need another spirit box right now.
I keep hearing somebody walk up and down my stairs, but there is obviously nobody there. There's nothing there. And it keeps coming up and down, up and down.
Now this is insane. What if I told you that The Simpsons have already predicted 2 major events that have happened in 2024? Well, hold on tight because the last one is just crazy. So the first prediction is the Japan tsunami, dating back to season 17, episode 18, titled The Wettest Story Ever Told. The Simpsons are on board a boat near the coast of Japan when a large wave strikes the boat. And this is when they realize it is no ordinary wave, but rather a tsunami, which then heads towards the city and wipes it out. Okay, this is where it gets a little weirder. They also predicted the alien attack on the mall in Miami, which happened just days ago in a more recent episode where Bart and Lisa are at the mall while on vacation in Florida when they discover an evil alien lurking in the storage rooms.
This office worker in China was caught being disturbed by strange activity. At first, his water bottle falls over on its own. Not long after, one of the computer monitors falls from the cupboard. The employee checks the monitor, and suddenly his chair appears to move and nudge him, making him run away. But the spooky events don't end there. Keep watching. A shadow-like shape appears in the window. Is this paranormal activity or just an elaborate hoax?
There's a cave in China where hundreds of coffins were found. Rumors say that vampire ancestors are in a deep sleep, and if you open the coffins, you'll break the curse and awaken the dead. But this isn't actually the case, and the real reason why those coffins are there might surprise you. You see, in ancient times, people that lived in the city of Anshun, China, moved over into the mountainy regions in order to avoid war. Their beliefs were that by placing a coffin high up in a mountain, it would be closer to heaven. Then by letting the wooden coffins rot away, the souls would successfully cross over.
Things you cannot do on Ghost Day. The gates of the underworld will be open on the 14th day of the 7th lunar month, allowing ghosts to come to our mortal world to roam free until the gates close at the end of the month. Don't take pictures out on the street at night because you don't want an additional person to appear in your photos for no reason. Don't go swimming at night because ghosts that died in the water and couldn't reincarnate will appear in the sea looking for scapegoats, so you're more likely to drown. Don't pat on others' shoulders and don't cover up your forehead. Chinese believe a person has 3 fires, 1 on forehead and 2 on shoulders. Extinguishing the fire will weaken your yang energy, allowing the spirits to take advantage of your body. Don't hang your clothes on the balcony or outside, because spirits may attach to them and go home with you when you collect the clothes. Don't stay out late during the 7th lunar month and avoid taking the last bus because you don't know who may be sitting next to you. Don't whistle or sing songs at night because the spirits may think you're calling for them. Don't pick up coins, banknotes, or any offerings on the street because those are intended for the spirits. They will make you pay back by giving you bad luck. When you're walking on the street at night, especially in a dark place, if you hear someone calling your full name, never turn your head to look back.
Although initially, nothing is seen at first, the man records what looks to be a face that just suddenly comes out of nowhere. Like something you'd see during sleep paralysis, a pale face emerges from the darkness as it stares blankly with no motion whatsoever in its face. But not only does it lack any movement, but a body as well. This mysterious face doesn't appear to have a torso or any limbs at all. Whatever this is, just seems to be a floating head with no other bodily features. Despite its unnatural appearance, the man is certain that this wasn't a family member who was awake during this time because, as he states, everybody in his family has a very dark skin tone. This, whatever it was, does not have the same tone. This video was taken in Gainesville, Florida, and to this day, the person who shot this video has no idea as to who or even what was caught on camera. Although initially, nothing is seen at first, the man records what looks to be a face that just suddenly comes out of nowhere. Like something you'd see during sleep paralysis, a pale face emerges from the darkness as it stares blankly with no motion whatsoever in its face. But not only does it lack any movement, but a body as well. This mysterious face doesn't appear to have a torso or any limbs at all. Whatever this is, just seems to be a floating head with no other bodily features. Despite its unnatural appearance, the man is certain that this wasn't a family member who was awake during this time because, as he states, everybody in his family has a very dark skin tone. This, whatever it was, does not have the same tone. This video was taken in Gainesville, Florida, and to this day, the person who shot this video has no idea as to who or even what was caught on camera.
Japan's Prime Minister eats fish from treated radioactive waters. Yes, just like in The Simpsons. Japan's Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, has been filmed eating fish sashimi from Fukushima to try to show that it's safe. Kishida and his cabinet ministers ate a selection of flounder, octopus, and sea bass for lunch. The fish was caught off the Fukushima coast after treated radioactive wastewater had been released into the Pacific Ocean. And yes, it's quite similar to this scene from a 1990 episode of The Simpsons.
All right, three-eyed fish!
Where Mr. Burns eats Blinky, a three-eyed fish. The wastewater has built up since a 2011 earthquake and tsunami triggered one of the world's worst nuclear disasters at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Japan insists the treated water is safe, and so far the UN's nuclear watchdog has backed them. But China immediately banned imports of Japanese fish after the water was released, while thousands of people protested in South Korea.